Hey, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex, back with my top 5 games of the month. And the crowd goes wild. We love these videos, Grant. Thank you so much, crowd. That's very nice of you to say. This was an actual very hard month to pick my top 5 games of the month because a bunch of games I really liked aren't going to make this list, like The Great Split, like Power Plants, like Nemalia, but I did it. I've done it. I have picked my top 5 games of the month, and here we go. My number 5 game of March was Kapow from Wise Wizard Games. This is a 2-player only dice combat game where one person plays as a hero and one person plays as a villain. You are rolling dice behind privacy screens and then assigning those dice to do different actions. And all of the actions have, that sort of old Batman type of, wording and stuff. We got a pow, we got a zap, we got a zing, we got a shellac. Stuff like that. So it feels very comic booky, and I love that about it. The theme of this game really comes through in the bright, colorful components and the artwork, all of that sort of stuff. You can upgrade your dice throughout the game. There are both static dice where you can get more of them, or dice with upgradable faces where you can keep adding faces to make them more powerful. And it's just really satisfying to roll your dice a bunch of times and then use them to fight somebody else. It's fairly simple, but there is some complexity here, not just in sort of how you want to assign your dice, but there's also asymmetric characters in the game. This first box starts with 4 heroes and 4 villains that all have different asymmetric abilities and boards, so that certainly adds some replayability to the game. Everyone you pick is going to play a little bit differently, and you're going to explore different things. Oh, do I want to go hard in this game? Do I want to go hard in this game? Plus, the game is only about 20 to 30 minutes. So it's one of those games that I want to play multiple times in a row. Roll a bunch of dice, let's hit each other. Oh, you beat me, I'm going to get you this next time. Let's play again. I always want to play it 2-3 times when I'm pulling it off of the shelf. So I really like everything about it. Is it the most strategic game? No, but that siren really is here to support this game. I mean, everybody's into this game right now. You know who I want to hear from? I want to hear from an actual superhero. When you play this game, you want to be the hero, not the villain. I am tired of all these media outlets making villains seem like sympathetic, relatable characters. They're not sympathetic, they're villains. They're bad guys. Be the hero in this game, roll some dice, and put them down on hero stuff like pow, zing, shellac. We all know it's you, Grant. What? Why would you say that? I'm obviously a very different character that's a hero. I'm not the same as you. Get out of here. You are literally wearing the same hat as me. No. This one's black. One of the things I get frustrated at in the board game hobby sometimes is how fast we move on from games to new games, and I get it. There's a ton of games coming out all of the time, so sometimes we feel like we have to move on to keep up with all of the releases, but this is your friendly reminder. Feel free to play things that you missed along the way. Sometimes it's a very rewarding experience, and don't judge others when they do. I've heard some people say like, oh, you just played that? Yeah, I played that like 5 years ago. Well, you know what? 5 years ago wasn't that long ago. So my number 4 this month is Dice Forge, because this has been on my shelf of shame for like 3 or 4 years, and I finally played it, and I am very proud of myself, and also, this is a great game. I feel like an idiot that it's been on my shelf of shame for that long, but you know what? It's finally off, and it's great. It's great. I really, really love this game. Is it the greatest game of all time? No, but it's so much fun. That's the best word to describe this game. It is fun. In the game, you are upgrading faces of your dice and then constantly rolling them for benefits. Every time someone else takes a turn, you get to roll your dice and get the resources that it tells you. And that's just great, you know? You're constantly doing stuff. You're constantly feeling good because you're moving up resource tracks and stuff like that. You know, yes, the dice faces feel fiddly sometimes. You know, there are times I'm popping off a dice face and it goes flying all over the place, and that is annoying, but I don't care that much because it's just so fun. It is just fun, you know? Is this the, greatest game of all time? I don't care if it is, because I had fun playing it, and I got it off my shelf of shame, and that's great. So, you know what? If you have one on your shelf of shame that you've been dying to play for a long time, hey, you can do it. I believe in you, because I believed in myself with this. It only took 4 years, but it's finally done. So, you know who we should hear from? We should hear from an anthropomorphized version of Dice Forge.
My name is Dice Forge, and I'm ancient in the board game hobby. I'm almost 6 years old, but I promise, if you play me, I still got it. Oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, I'm still just as fun as the day I was born. So, you know, if you haven't given me a chance, give me a chance. Yay!
My number 3 game of March was Fractured Sky from IV Studios. We just went from an old game to a game that's not even out yet. This game will be on Kickstarter in a week or two because these videos have no rules. There's no rules. I can put any games on here that I want because these are my top 5 games of the month. Fractured Sky is really, really great because there's just a ton of hidden information in this game. There's a lot of bluffing to be had, and I really like bluffing in games, but there's also a ton of strategy in this game. You know, a lot of times bluffing games are sort of silly, party-ish games, light games. This is a medium weight game, and there's a lot of different avenues to victory. That's one of the things I really like about it. In the game, you will be placing out airships into different regions and trying to have the most power of airships in those regions. So all of your airships can only add up to 10 total value. So you can split them any way you want. You could put a 10 and a 0 and a 0. You could try to go 3, 4, whatever adds up to 10. And so it's really interesting trying to think about what other people are going for, where do they want to control. But the other interesting part is that not every region will even score you points. There are cards that determine which regions score points that round, and you have to spend resources to look at those cards. You can spend resources and look at them, and then take one of the resources on the card, but everybody else will know that that card has that resource, so that eliminates some of the possible places that it could be. So again, there's just so much hidden information, so much trying to figure out where's what, who's going where, what they're putting down, and I love that aspect of the game. I love games where you have to read other people, where you have to think not just about what you want, but about what they want too. And Fractured Sky does that so well. There's a lot of different elements to the game. You know, there is that area majority, there is bluffing, there's also resource engine building in the game. You can be putting out markets that get yourself more and more resources, and those will help you put out fortresses, and those will help you do other stuff. So there's a real ramp up to the game. It's played over 5 rounds, and your 5th round, you're like, I could do so much this round. And I love that aspect of the game. There is some pretty interesting lore behind the game as well. So, right now, why don't we throw it over to Storytelling Corner to hear about some of the lore.
A star tore to pieces and fell to the sea. 10 cursed islands arose from the depths. A Newman was awakened by the clamor they caused, whose anger turned waters pitch black. The god-beast called out to the seers and the wise men of earth, and did offer to grant them one wish. In exchange they would bring him starfall fragments that fell, so he might cast them back to the heavens. But only one wish would be granted to them, to the ones who had gathered the most. They took to thy sky in their vessels they soared, for riches, for love, for glory.
And does that lore come through when you're playing the game?
Not one bit.
My number 2 is Mindbug. This is one of the best small box card games I've played in a long time. If you are a fan of head-to-head card combat games like Magic the Gathering or Star Realms, I think you'll really like this game. Because it is a 2-player only game where you are playing cards to battle your opponent. And all the cards have very fun artwork on it. There's a bright, vibrant feel to the game, so it doesn't feel dark and heavy like some of these other high fantasy card games. And every card you play will have a power on it and will have a special ability, something that you can do. But the thing that makes this game really interesting is that both players have 2 Mindbug cards per game. So when you play one of your cards to attack the other player, they can use one of their Mindbug cards to steal control of your card, to basically take it from you. So you are not only thinking about how to play stuff to defeat them, but you're also thinking about how can I play something that they steal from me because I wanted them to steal it, because now I have a plan for that card they just used a Mindbug on. It makes there layers and layers and depth of strategy in this game, which is a lot to say for a game that takes 15 minutes maximum. You can play some games of this in 5 to 10 minutes. So it's another one of those games I want to play multiple times in a row. I never play this once. I play it, 3-4 times. This is a game, I'm going to Europe next month. I'm doing a trip to Europe, and this is a game I will for sure be taking with me. I want some small box card games I can throw in a backpack and play in a brewery or a distillery or things like that. And I think this one is perfect for that sort of a thing. And it has a lot of replayability because there's a lot of cards you don't see every game. So you can play 4 games of this and then you're like, oh, that's a card I haven't seen before. Fun. What does this one do? What special ability does this card have? So, again, it's just, this is one, it will be one of my go-to small box card games. If I'm recommending that type of a game to anybody, for sure, Mindbug. For sure, Mindbug. We should hear from an actual bug right now, I think. I want to hear what a bug has to say about this game.
I'm a bug and I control minds just like the game Mindbug. Watch me bring this human's finger into frame, for I am controlling his mind. Here it comes. But don't touch me. No, seriously, I'm controlling mine. Please don't touch me. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out.
And my number 1 game of March was Veiled Fate, also from IV Studios. This is a hidden role game, but it's a hidden role game that has a lot more strategy than most. A lot of times when I hear hidden role game, I think party game, I think big group game like Werewolf or that sort of stuff. But Veiled Fate is a hidden role game you can play with as few as 2 players. It is a 2 to 9 player game, and it has a real board element to it. It is a board game, It's not just a card game, it's not just a social deduction game. You are moving pieces around a board, and one of the most interesting aspects of the game is you can move any piece. You don't just have to move your own piece, and you in fact want to move other people's pieces because you want to keep it hidden who you're controlling, because you're only getting points for one of those 9 pieces. So maybe you can move a few other pieces around to throw people off your scent, because if people know what you are, then they're gonna make sure to block you, to screw you over, that sort of thing. You are going to different objectives around the board and then putting in cards to influence the objective to one way or another. You want the objective to score for your piece if your piece is on there, but again, which pieces are you going to put on there? Maybe you put a couple other pieces on there so they score points so people think you're them, and then go try to get your own piece points somewhere else. I love the intriguing aspect of the game. And I do honestly feel like that's the best word for this game. It is intriguing, you know? You're constantly looking around the table, who's controlling what, why did you move there, what agenda do you have, you know? Trying to figure it out. It's also, you know, IV Studio is one of the best production values of any company out there. So this just looks incredible on the table. You know, the miniatures are awesome. The board looks really cool. I love the color scheme of it all. You know, it's one of those games that makes you feel impressed when you look at it, where you're like, yeah, board games are in a great place right now, baby. So I feel like, you know, who we should hear about, you know, who we should talk to about this game is a mysterious figure in a cloak. There's so much mystery in this game. You never know quite who's who. Okay, so you're also Grant.
What? No, why would you say that?
Because you're even worse at hiding your identity than Superhero Guy. Dang it, Grant, would you stop ruining this for me? That's what I got for you. Those are my top 5 games of March. I played 25 new games in the month of March, and these were my top 5 from that list. So thanks so much for watching. I hope that you actually get some information, but also get some chuckles out of these videos. You know, I'm trying to make them obviously silly and fun. What? This video isn't the most serious board game video you've ever seen? I am shocked. Thank you so much for being here. I do this every month on Rahdo's channel, you know, so check out more of Rahdo's videos. He makes a lot of great videos, and they are very informative and helpful if you're trying to find a new game. And, you know, also come over to my channel and look at the stuff I'm doing over there, and, you know, support both of us. How about we, you know, just support all around. That's great.